Co-worker has an absolutely shocking secret. Non-fiction. I worked as a waiter in Boston for a few years, and nothing gave me more joy than getting to work with my favorite busboy, Juan Carlos. Every shift we worked together was full of laughter and non-stop tomfoolery. The manager knew we had a special bond, so she usually scheduled us in the same section, but occasionally I got stuck working with another busser named Fanny instead. Fanny was the absolute worst. She never bussed a table unless I told her to, and then she did so begrudgingly. The rest of the time she would just lean in the corner, staring at her phone, while her lower lip hung lazily. For some reason, the restaurant never had any soup spoons. One time, Jim, the owner, told Fanny to get off her phone and go find some soup spoons in the dish room. She disappeared for like 2 hours, and came back without any soup spoons. "She don't like Mr. Jim," said Juan Carlos, wide-eyed. She say not nice things about Mr. Jim. I had known Juan Carlos long enough to know that this was his way of talking mad smack about Fanny. A couple of weeks later, the restaurant hosted its employee Christmas party at Dave Buster's. They bought everyone food and drinks and gave everyone a $20 game card. It took Juan Carlos and me about 4 seconds to waste all our money on the punching bag machine. And then we started wandering around the place with our Coronas, trolling our fellow employees. Juan Carlos elbowed me in the rib and pointed across the room. Fanny was overplaying the Kung Fu Panda punching game. Naturally, we made a beeline over there. The game has 6 little punching bags, and you have to punch whichever one lights up. Fanny started punching, and then she kept punching, and then she kept fucking punching. It was an overwhelming sight, like watching somebody do what they were born to do. Vague, blurry flashes of fists and forearms. Fanny, alive and deadly. Pandas dropping like flies. The machine lit up with 1,000 bells and whistles, and then it started vomiting tickets all over the ground. Juan Carlos and I stared at each other, shocked. Fanny let me try a turn, and she whispered some cryptic advice in my ear. "You gotta get low." I punched the fastest I could, but I was out pretty quickly. Fanny resumed her position in front of the machine, and she won 4 more grand jackpots in a row. I watched her eyes while she played. They were manic and quivering, the kind of eyes that might gaze upon eternity and never blink. Juan Carlos and I kept reenacting Fanny in the Kung Fu Panda game for a few weeks after that. Juan Carlos couldn't pronounce Kung Fu Panda, and he said Cookie Fu Fonda instead, but I knew what he meant. Not long after, Fanny took a week off to go on a cross-country motorcycle trip with her boyfriend. On the day she was supposed to come back, she didn't show up for her shift. One of the other bussers showed me and the manager a Snapchat story that Fanny had posted like an hour earlier. She was on the back of a motorcycle, arms split while she laughed freely. A sign saying "Welcome to Oregon" flashed by. "I guess that means she's not coming back," said my manager. A few days later, someone went to clean out Fanny's locker, and they found like 200 soup spoons in there. Today I paid for a stranger's groceries. Today I was in a long line for the checkout. I live in Florida and the lines are long with this hurricane on the way. There was a guy in front of us holding the line up. I asked my wife what was going on to stall the line. She said it looks like this guy had his card declined. She points to the guy, he was 2 ahead of us. At this time the manager came out and voided the transaction. The guy was with his daughter, approximately 10 years old. His clothes were a little tight and had stains on them. His daughter was dressed like her clothes came from Walmart or a thrift shop. I'm not judging, just trying to create the actual scene. The guy was staring at his phone, very embarrassed and frustrated. I told my wife we had to pay for his food without a thought, wondering how to do this without bringing more attention to the guy or to us. I jump out of line and ask the manager what the issue was with the guy because I would pay for his food if his card was declined. She told me she wasn't sure what the issue, but it was card related. At this time people start looking and I was trying not to create attention. Now, I don't care what the reason is because they're obviously not giving the guy the food. So the guy and his daughter started walking out of the store empty. I call out to the guy from behind, trying to stop him. Hey buddy, excuse me, come on back in here, let me help you." He looks at me confused. I was watching the whole time. He comes back in and the employees are taking his cart to reshelf the food he tried to buy. I tell the customer service I'll pay for his food. I didn't even know how much it was, didn't matter. I paid the bill. It was only about $60. The guy tries to hand me a little cash, maybe he's a little embarrassed. I smile and shake his hand, tell him no way. He hugs me. He hugged me. My wife runs out of the store crying. I am not telling this story to brag or for any other reason, except to explain my view on this. I believe that I had no choice but to pay for his groceries. I am in a position to do it, and I feel that it is our duty to help each other in this life when given the chance. We rarely have opportunities in life to assist our fellow humans, resulting in a direct positive impact that we can feel. It matters not the cost. Yes, I know there are a lot of charities to which one can donate, but you rarely feel the impact of your donation. There is usually high overhead and a fraction of your donation actually goes to help. I feel incredibly sad that people suffer, can't buy food, etc. I feel incredibly fortunate for my life. Looking back, I wish I had done more. I would have bought him some gift cards for the food store. I think sometimes we are caught up in our own lives and don't realize that people standing right next to us are struggling, suffering. I will be on the lookout to help less fortunate people more often, and I will be less absorbed in my own life, which will give me this opportunity. Gillian Anderson is how I found out a lot of the internet is fake. I was born in 1988. Makes me sound ancient these days, but basic math will tell you I'm 36. Being so old, I did not have the internet growing up. I was probably 12, 13, maybe even older before we got internet in my home. I also grew up deep in the Appalachian Mountains, so we were always a little bit behind the rest of the world regarding developmental issues. Anyone my age will tell you the X-Files were huge. Huge might be an understatement. An absolute giant. My about to be a teenager self loved the X-Files, and I had a huge crush on Gillian Anderson, the lady who played Scully. So one time when I was left alone with the computer and internet, I searched for naked pictures of Gillian Anderson, as I assume most of us 88 babies have done. The picture that popped up was sufficient for what I needed it for. A picture of a tree with breasts would have been sufficient, and then maybe 2 or 3 days later I was watching a TV show that was warning people about fake pictures online. I swear to God, the very first picture they showed was a fake picture of Gillian Anderson. They showed the original picture and showed how it had been faked. I was sitting there like I just masturbated to that same fake picture. It was literally the same one. They said you need to be vigilant to make sure you don't fall victim to fake pictures. Since then I don't trust anything anymore. Is this post real, or did I make it all up? No one knows. I don't trust me. You shouldn't either. I turned down a $200,000 job offer because it wasn't remote. And now my friends think I'm selfish and privileged. Nonfiction. I 29 recently faced a dilemma that has sparked a lot of heated debates among my friends and family. I was offered a position at a top-tier tech company with a $200,000 salary, which is a massive increase from my current pay. It was my dream job. Exciting projects, a top-notch team, and great growth prospects. The catch? It required me to relocate to a major city and work in an office full-time. Here's the kicker. I've been working remotely for the past 3 years and I absolutely love it. My current setup allows me to work from a cozy rural area where I've built a life that suits my needs. Low stress, a great quality of life, and time for personal passions. Remote work has not only enhanced my productivity but also my well-being. After much consideration, I turned down the offer. My decision has sparked outrage among my friends and family. They argue that I'm being selfish and privileged for prioritizing my comfort over a significant career opportunity. They point out that not everyone has the luxury of turning down high-paying jobs and suggest that I'm out of touch with reality. Some even accuse me of having an entitled attitude, given that many people would jump at the chance for such a substantial salary boost. I understand their frustration, but I genuinely believe that my quality of life and personal happiness are worth more to me than a fat paycheck. But now I'm questioning if I'm missing out on a crucial career milestone. Am I being unrealistic and out of touch, or is my focus on personal well-being justified? TLDR. I turned down a $200,000 job offer because it wasn't remote. And now my friends think I'm selfish and out of touch. Am I wrong for valuing remote work and personal happiness over a huge salary increase?